Here are 5 transmedia storytelling, story sharing tips, tools, techniques that I am picking up as I move through bringing forth the stories, contributions, and projects align with legacy and the legacy ecosystem that's made up of legacy after 60, becoming a Legacent, and the legacy pathway. And these ideas that I'm sharing with you here are meant to go, for you, I hadn't thought of it that way. That's kind of interesting. And maybe use some of these ideas in what you're doing. So the first one I wanted to start with is to remember that you're on a unique journey, yes, and you're adventuring together with others. And in doing so, are you, if you think about it from a music point of view, are you a solo? Are you in a band? Are you a jazz, modern jazz? Are you a symphony? What's happening for you? What kind of metaphoric musical structure might you be using? So as an example, I tend to be more solo. And then there's times when I'm in a jazz. I don't really go into a rock band kind of idea or a swing band or anything like that, but I would probably consider myself jazz, where each one of us is helping the other to bring forth the best in terms of the music and or the product, services, and experiences that we have to bring to the foreground. Now, I'm going to suggest that there's some combination. I don't think that we're just a solo artist. Again, we're on adventures together. So thinking of it through that lens, what might your answer be? Pop it in the comments. Or if you have another really wonderful fifth element to that musical metaphor, please add. The next thing I wanted to explore with you is story and narrative. From a transmedia point of view, I pop into what's called Stage 32. Let me just check .com, stage32.com. And it's a place where there is actually a transmedia group that meets, but it also shares insights about all different kinds of media formats and media channels that you can use. I happen to be in the transmedia because I'm attempting to work across different media channels and bringing this story and narrative together. So I want to be a little bit more precise. So let me read you what story is. Story is the raw material, events, characters, settings, the shift, the sequence of experience. Whereas the narrative is the structure and meaning, how the story is framed, why it matters, how it moves the audience. So I think of your legacy is your story, but how you put it together and take it out, writing, videos, maybe you craft it, sculpt it, whatever it might be, garden it. So there's a story and then there's a narrative that goes with it. And again, if you explore that a little bit more, there's stage32.com. But again, just poke around in the transmedia storytelling, story sharing world and see what comes up for you. The other thing I just like to share is that story gives you what happened, narrative gives you what it means and how it travels. I kind of thought that was good. So again, I suggest stage32.com. There's no affiliate link or anything like that. But what they're doing is they're always bringing to the foreground what they call story world. And I like that is because it brings story and narrative together in terms of the definitions I've just read to you. So again, if you have anything you want to add to this, suggest it down in the comments. Now, I'll be coming back to story and narrative probably many times, because as I learn and go deeper myself into the transmedia, my story world, and using the different narrative tools and techniques, I'll be sharing them with you on these videos. As I've been sharing on the videos, the third point I would bring up is I just want to give you a couple of examples of where I'm actually using the transmedia and how it's unfolding for me. So I think that probably one of the best things I can suggest is SOPs. Now, often they're called standard operating procedures. I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to use strategic operating practices. And it's because the strategy is really, why am I doing this and how am I operationalizing it? In other words, putting it into action outcomes that I can then see how they unfold for me as I put those actions in. What outcomes do I get? Does it match up with the strategy I've set up? Do I have to alter the strategy, the actions, the outcomes? So I call SOPs strategic operating practices. Now, for me, this is just some recent examples. I wrote an article on Medium, and then what I did was I turned it into a YouTube video, a short that I put up. So Monday I wrote the article, published it, and on Tuesday I put up the reference to it on YouTube Shorts and then cross-referenced it. I don't know if it's going to turn into that cross-referencing, but what I'm after here is to get it rolling, to get it moving forward. So from a Substack article perspective, I link it back to my website blog. So I've been on Substack sharing a lot about Legacent. And then what I did was I wrote an online magazine that I publish on the new moon. No, sorry, it's on the full moon. On the full moon, and put that up on my blog. So I put 2 issues up already. And then I'm starting to now link my Substack stories about Legacent with that blog post. Again, starting to build it out. And then my LinkedIn article, again, similar to the other ones, I happened to take it back because I wrote about Legacent. I brought it back to my website blog. Now, what's going to start taking place is you can probably pick up the Substack to blog, the LinkedIn to blog. Now I need to say, how could I connect Substack and LinkedIn and then Medium? So that's what I'm working out now. I'm attempting to figure out what are the steps that I'll take to have that happen, because I'm really leaning into an organizational work that I'm looking for the efficiencies while I'm also looking for the growth. Now, one of the interesting things is this video is now linking all of those, because in the description, I'll put the links to the various elements that I've just shared, various articles and videos shared, just so you can see how it might play itself out. So again, I'm attempting to just put it into action. I encourage you to do the same thing. As what ways are you figuring out those practices that are sort of standard and operating for you that make the most sense, looking for that efficiency and growth. If you have any comments, again, down below, always helps. We can learn together. The fourth one is AI, artificial intelligence. Now, I'm not going to do a big dive into this and look at it and make reference to all the different kinds of AI tools. That's not what I'm about. Well, what I thought I would share with you is some of my own learnings that have proven to be of great value to me. And again, I'll pass them along and use an example or two here just to bring it to life. Now, one of the biggest things that I would suggest is that, yes, there's the AI, but it needs to lean into the human element, the editing, the prompts, the thinking through the ideas. It's not enough to just go over to AI, put in a prompt, write my blog article, and off I go. Write my Substack article, off I go. Do this. That's not going to get you where you really need to do, where you need to get to, because it's not going to start giving you the voice that's associated with you, and your authority, your mastery, your position. It's not going to provide that. It is going to learn as much as it can, but you have to stay present with that and be able to move it forward. So what I'm suggesting here is it's a hybrid, but it's leaning human. Now, the interesting ways in which I have been using it is the following. There are content elements that I go after. I may want to say, hey, give me 2 ideas to this title, and I need it in this format using this keyword, and just get some comment, and I'm using that to create my shorts. The next one would be is workflow. Now, I haven't jumped into this one as much, but workflow might be, give me an outline of an ebook or a prompt book or a journal. And I'm just playing with it, trying to look at chapters and how things might move through. Now, there are AI systems, apps that you can jump into. I should maybe say software apps that you can jump into, and they can help you with the efficiencies of your workflow. Now, there's another one where you might use your AI from a prediction point of view. Sometimes I'll go in and I'll say, what would be the trends to pay attention to? It's going to go look at, say, maybe Google Trends, and it's going to come back sort of, these are ideas that I might share with you. Again, you've got to really lean into the human element of interpreting those. That's there for you. And then sometimes I'll just ask it, surprise me, what is it you want to share about this connection between these words, this word and that word, or these phrases and that phrase? And I use it from a surprise point of view. And all I'm doing is I'm just prompting it to give me something so I can play with it and then see what I might do with it. And I might use a word like, give me an outlier perspective of the connection of these 2 words. So I might put in legacy and nature, give me 2 outlier ideas. I haven't prompted it more than that, but I'm looking at it for surprises. What might it bring back? Again, these are just 4 ways that I'm using it. If you have other ways, pop them down in the comment section so we can learn together. Just continuing a little bit more with this AI, it comes down to the prompts you use and the layered prompts, and there's lots of people you can go to figure out what the layering means and how do you ask the AI questions and that. I'm not going to tackle that, but it's there for you. The other thing I would just mention, it's the quality that you're attempting to get out of it, which means putting quality in. So your prompts that you're going to use and being specific about the concepts you want to play with and the practices that you want to come out. So if you're looking for a list of 5 points, bullet points related to working out by walking with nature, then you've got to layer it in. Just don't say, what's the connection between walking and nature? It gives you back. You take it, off you go. You're going to have to play with it a little bit and see where it gets to. Because what you're doing is you are bringing to the foreground 2 words, evidence and ethics. There's evidence from your words, your ideas, your experience, your expertise, your voice, authority. You're bringing it into it, leaning into that. But you've also got to think about the ethics of this. And the ethics is, how do we interact with one another? That's what ethics is about. So respect, caring, accountability, words like this. Again, I would suggest look up ethics, look up what would be considered the most important ethics. I play with 7. If that's something you'd like me to talk about another time, I certainly can bring that to the foreground. But connecting ethics, and think about the ethics that you want to link to your legacy stories, projects, and contributions. Make that connection. And if you're going to use AI, think of the evidence and the ethics that's associated with that. And one of the best suggestions I can give to you in this world of AI and searches, go to your incognito search and search your name, your website, whatever it might be, the topics that you're connected with, and see what comes back linked to you. It's great to do that. I probably do it every couple of months just to see if my articles are starting to get any kind of traction, but it's putting into the incognito search, not your normal search. And the fifth one that I would just bring to you today is around inquiry, and thinking of inquiry as about issues. And issues are really questions that you might have. And therefore, I believe, or I work with, maybe that's a better way to believe work, okay, we'll leave it as that, is that there's three inquiries. There's the problem inquiry. In other words, there's something that's not working. In other words, it's a hinder, and you're looking for a way in which to resolve it. There's appreciative inquiry, which is there's things that are really going well that's helping you, and you want to figure out how might I do it more often or more of it. And then there's humble inquiry. And what humble inquiry is about is thinking about, well, I may have a hinder and I may have a help, and both of them are present. What is it, by looking at them together, how is it that I can be humble enough to learn from both of those to bring an answer forward, which may require me to sort of go quiet about some things, to really take a good look at it, have some great conversations before I make up my mind about which way I'll go with it. Now, all three of them, there are tools and techniques associated with them. If you have a request of one or more of those, let me know. And I can certainly talk a little bit more about it, share some of my own tips and tools around each one. I use all three. I use the combination of them. And depending on what it is that's happening at the moment, I'll bring the three of them to the foreground. Again, it just gives me different angles to look at whatever it is that I'm looking at. And usually that really helps. Now, I can use that kind of phrasing and that kind of idea under the AI one as well. Think about it from that perspective. Do you have anything about these three types of inquiry or a question you might have about them? Again, down below in the comments section, we can learn together. Well, with these 5 tips, tools, and techniques that I brought forward, best wishes with your use of them. And what's popping up now for you are videos that I suggest that you take a look at, especially the playlist for the shorts. Because if you've got a journal, jump into those shorts. There's quite a few of them now. And let them prompt you for different ideas around legacy. So with that, always and in all ways, take care.